Anyways, right into it, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Red Couch Chronicles. We are here with the OGs in the game. Lynn and Shimoda Fife, elders,
AKA
mentors,
Auntie and
Uncle, like all of it in between.
All the things.
Fashionista.
Oh my God,
all
the
of
fly
it. Parents, cool,
goals.
all of it. Goals, what you feel
Black
like.
excellence.
Yes.
Wow, who are those people?
Shoot, God call him?
Yeah.
Advice?
Yeah, call him up. Call him up. We wanted to talk to you guys about transparency. Not just in your relationship between one another in-house, but also how you do that and manage that outside of the house, being transparent with one another and being transparent with folks like us who are close to you, who you're able to share with, but still keeping one another covered. I feel like you guys do that very masterfully, being able to say what is a real thing.
Right.
But I never feel as though
Someone just got exposed. Right.
It's always covered. And I don't know how you do it, but it's amazing. And
I want to jump right in with the question.
Talk to me.
I'm wondering, do you feel like you can be that candid? Because it is candid, right? It's very candid and real because it's from a testimony place. You know what I'm saying? It's from a conquered place. So there's nothing happens when I say it because we've conquered it already.
You know what? I think that's a great point, but I think more of it is being able to recognize who my husband is. Mm-hmm. He is the soft and tender and fuzzy one. Mm-hmm. That's not so much me. Mm-hmm. So in learning his character and him allowing me to be me, because I'm gonna say it.
No filter.
But the beauty is, I don't ever mistakenly say something. I really process it, and I have to actually test the climate of who I'm dealing with, because there are different levels of transparency.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And so whenever I'm talking to someone who I believe trusts us or trusts me, and even if it gets into a marital situation, I have to be able to recognize where they are.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I can only go so far as opposed to pushing them over.
Got it.
And so that's really where it starts.
And I think that's good.
Is learning levels and climate.
Transparency
Yes.
and climate.
But see, I rest in her transparency.
Okay,
So,
sir. Okay.
She's more forward than
Run
I
that
am.
back.
Yes.
So with her being more forward, she's usually the sword and I'm the shield. Meaning that she can say whatever she says, and if I'm there or I'm around, we know it stops there. So she can say whatever to whomever. Our lives, we've been through our trials, our tribulations. We've conquered so many things. But along the way, she's got the eloquence in being able to cut you, walk away. You be like, wait a minute, I'm bleeding. She cut me deep.
Yeah.
Right.
That's her beauty. I don't have that. I'm more like, if you want to kill a spider, I pretty much so going to use a sledgehammer. That doesn't work because feelings are hurt. You overstep. Lynn is beautiful with words.
And how? I'm sure that wasn't an overnight arrival.
Absolutely not.
Okay. So how do we get to that place of understanding that she is the sword and you are the shield, and those wars are going to come, but you're resting in her? Like how did we get there?
All right. Let me first say, her level of maturity grew me up. Right. I'm transparent enough. No pun intended. I'm transparent enough to say that when we got married, I was 30. I just turned 30. She was 35. And
You're 30 in age, but 25 in.
correct. She was more mature.
This is an important call
No, that's
out.
yeah.
She was very mature. So for years, I've observed and watched her. I call Lynn my mentor because she has more life experience. She has more things that she's overcome. And I was trying to grow up, learn how to be a husband, a friend, learn how to be in my role. And in that, I was leaning on her experience.
I feel like most times when you hear that, one, you don't hear it, you know that it's the truth, but you don't hear anyone ever
Right.
say it.
Right,
and
right,
what
right.
happens is it's just like bull in a china shop. So like, I don't know, so I'm just gonna come in here trying to lay down stuff, and this is how it's gonna be.
Right.
The maturity to be able to say, you're way more mature than me, and you know more than me, and I'm gonna take that and learn from it and still play my role. I'm not diminished in any way. I'm still all of the man that you need me to be and all of the man that I am, but I'm learning. It just feels like this oxymoron when it comes to how men generally see themselves, think, and move.
So before she says it, what I would say is, my first thing is, I've always been secure in who I am. And that came through, I was truly a ball of clay growing up. I molded me. I had a great father, but I didn't have the type of father who was like, okay, son, let's do this. I had 5 siblings, right? So my father was like, I provided, I'm take care of you. Hey, I'll teach you this craft, this skill, this vocation. But he wasn't like, let me soothe your hurt. He wasn't that type of father. So I had to mature me, and I didn't always use the best tools, but I got there.
So let me say in that, and him coming into the marriage with a very young mentality, it was growing pains for me.
Right.
So
Right.
I had to, God is so amazing and so intentional because he curved my rough edges to learn how to deal with a man who was so tender. And it was so beautiful because it's like, I'm like, dude, we'd have a disagreement. He's like, that was mean. It's a fight.
Of course it's mean.
And so God was like, really?
But really, right. But
Right,
that's not, yeah.
But
right,
really,
right.
girl?
Right.
Really? So it was a yin and yang, but even in me having to go through his growing pains, he also softened my heart.
Right.
And he sort of tamed my tongue. But it was such a beautiful thing. Listen, it has not been easy. But I am reaping the benefits of a 60-year-old woman feeling like I just got married 10 years ago. I thank God that all that stuff is in our rear view, but it keeps me also very mindful when we're dealing with other couples.
Right.
Like, y'all ain't always had it together.
Right.
And our together isn't together, it's succeeding. People always say, what's your success? We don't have a successful marriage. We have a succeeding marriage. Because if it's successful, it means we've given up.
Right.
And then the enemy
you've
will
reached
come
the
in
top.
and say,
Right.
really? So we have succeeding, and what I've learned to do is to fall back. I have a very strong personality. And there are times I don't agree with Shimoda. And God knows it.
Quite a few times she don't agree.
God knows it.
When I need some more tennis shoes, she don't agree.
No.
That's debatable.
We're gonna get into that.
We're gonna get
So
Or not.
So this relationship has been a plus for both of us. It's taught us both because this is my second time round. This is his first.
samesies.
And I had to recognize
Yeah.
because you've done it before, if you were so good at it, you'd still be in it.
Hello.
But see, that's the foundation to people want the glory and don't know the story.
Right.
The story has got smooth pages with a few words,
Pages ripped
with
out.
ripped out, pages with a million words on it. It is a
Ain't
true
no pages.
story. But they see the smiles,
Right.
they see the look, they see the fashion or whatever. They see us out in public. And it's one of the trippiest things about it is people think we just got married. People run into us all the time in public. I don't care where we are, what establishment, what part of the country, what part of the world. Oh, wow, you guys are newlyweds. No.
But what I have to say,
How long has it been?
it's 25 years
25
and 27
years.
together. Shimoda has never, ever called me out of my name in 27 years. Is that my testimony? No.
I got a whole lot of beeps in my background. Beep, 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 beep.
No.
Okay.
However, it has taught me to respect the man
Right.
that I said yes to,
Right.
despite the age difference.
So I want to bring up a point for women, wives and women, even if you're not married, right? I feel like we often pop off and color it with, I'm just being transparent. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real.
But you're not.
But you're not. You're being
Mean.
right? You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
And also, too, it's very passive aggressive.
It is very passive aggressive because there's a difference between being because transparency is productive.
It's thought.
Right.
Right.
Transparency is productive, and what's not productive is I'm keeping it real, or pop offy, and then in the name of I'm being transparent.
Yeah.
And how do you, or what would you say to wives who, or they color it with, well, that's just who I am. I am outspoken, but you're sitting here saying, yeah, but God refined me, right? So that this would fit and we wouldn't be in conflict. So just because that may be your personality or your character doesn't mean that there's not work to be done. And that also doesn't mean don't be who you are.
Absolutely, but again, it starts back to respecting who your husband is.
Right.
It starts back to respect, because there are certain things that I just shouldn't say to him.
Right.
That's why it's so beautiful for ladies to have girlfriends and guys to have guy friends.
You're right.
So I can unload on you and you'll be like,
dang.
Okay, all right.
Right.
So let's see how you're going to now take that back in an edited version so
Right.
he gets what you're saying.
Right.
So again, it starts with the level of respect.
Yeah.
In community, I like that.
It really does. And being having a check and balances. Having me go to someone and say, this is what he did, I'm offended, and they're like, well, you just having an off day? Because that's really nothing. So again, not being okay with telling me you're having an off day.
Right.
So that's why community is so
A
important.
balanced community, right?
Absolutely.
Like
a healthy community.
Right.
Not
Exactly.
someone who's going to be a rah-rah
Exactly.
girl. If I were you. And so,
If I were you.
If I were you.
Nobody needs it if I were
But
you, girl.
You can't say if you were me.
I think we can all agree.
I think we can all agree.
Well, you're not me because you're not married.
Oh.
So let me give you the flip side of that on the man's perspective, right? On the man's perspective, what's a trip about what you asked her is that men who think they want, maybe wish they wanted a boss lady, right? A woman who was this, whatever. But they want to run in and come in and harness the boss. That's not your role.
Right.
You don't marry a boss lady, a boss chick. You don't marry that and go, yeah, now I'm running this. No, her strong suit is she's a boss. So if you're a boss and she's a boss, you got to learn how to be co-bosses.
Right.
You can't come in and just stomp on her flame.
Right.
And like, oh, no. That's one of the things that really helped us with transparency is that we're both alphas, but we're two totally different type of alphas. I'm an alpha who sits back in the back. I'm watching your mistakes. Now I'm going to show you what you need to do. And now I'm going to take the lead. Her thing is, look.
Eyes on me.
That's
This is how this is how I think it should go.
Right.
Right.
And that was one of the monumental things I had to understand early in our marriage is that she has some really wise, sage things to say. I can't be stuck in manhood. Oh, I'm not listening to that. I'm not doing that. The biggest part we had was money. For years. This is a sensitive spot for her, but for years. If I'd have got on board early, we'd have much flyer place then. We'd have been much flyer place.
But he wasn't feeling it.
And for my own hurts, in my own life, in my own thing, in my own I want to do, and I want to do for her, and from where we started, all of that. But I had to learn over years of doing the wrong thing, making mistakes. And then one day, when everything blew up, she said, I need this. I'm like, okay, here's the password to this. Here's this. This is how much money over here. And then life started turning around for us, and when money came. So, men, you can't take a boss and try to make her a subordinate. A boss is a boss. Let her be a boss.
Pass the offering buckets. We done, y'all.
Jeez.
The end.
That's really good.
That's really good. You said what did you say? You rest. What'd you say in her?
You rest in her transparency and not getting stuck in your manhood. I think that's a really profound statement, Shimoda, because I think that happens, and I don't think anyone even really has identified that that's what's happening. Because you're just trying to be what you think you need to be.
Right.
And sometimes that is the wrong move.
Right.
Because you don't really know yourself, and you don't know your spouse, and so you're just trying to copy and paste from something that you saw onto this new situation, and that's being detrimental to you. So it behooves you to know self, to know when manhood is trapping me up.
Ooh.
Exactly, because what happens is so many of us as men, we get these we get these downloads from other men about manhood.
Right.
Manhood and husbandhood are two different hoods,
Now you really preaching.
right? Because we all think, I'm just gonna be a man. I'm just gonna be a man about it. Yeah, my wife will. No, dog, that's not how I roll. You're a husband now. You're a leader, so you got to cover in prayer. You got to cover in wisdom. You got to cover in information. Sometimes wisdom is, babe, you know better than me.
Right.
Why don't you lead on this?
It's interesting. We just had a conflict this week, and I said to him, "I need you to use your words." And I wasn't, when it came out, I was thinking. I said, "I'm not speaking down to you." I said, "But I think you think I know what you're thinking." And he's like, "Oh," and it was so interesting. So he said to me this morning as we were preparing, he came in and I made a suggestion on something and he didn't like it. And so he came back and he said, "Babe, I need to use my words." And I said, "Okay." And he did. And I said, "Okay, I respect that. I don't understand it,
Right.
but I respect it." And it was over. And I think that's what that's what happens when we're even talking to other people. You gotta feel where people are.
Right.
And
There's a self-awareness.
you really do. And if people are not honest
Right. With themselves.
with themselves, there's
Right.
nothing there's
What are we
nothing we
talking
can
about?
deposit.
What are we talking
Because then at some point they become super sensitive that we've said something inappropriate. But
Right.
it's not about inappropriate, it's about honesty.
Right.
Dude, if you guys got locks on your phone, there's something wrong. If his phone rings, I can't pick it up because he's unavailable. There's something wrong with that.
Right.
But something so simple as that.
so
Right. Something so small.
But
Right.
again, people, well, that's my well, he's his individual, and we have separate phones.
Right.
But if
Right,
his phone is
obviously.
blowing up and we're
Right.
somewhere, hey, it's Lynn. They're like,
Right.
"Oh, hey,
Right.
I didn't expect you to answer the phone. Who you expect to? Betsy with the good hair? Who would answer besides me?"
Right.
So I just think that it starts
I
with,
love his face. It's just
it
like,
just starts
Like
with
my
the,
phone. That person expected me, not
absolutely.
you.
But if the phone keeps ringing,
that's so
100%.
funny.
That's really great, and again, a lot of wisdom there, especially on the identification of what parts of manhood and what parts of husbandhood,
That's good.
and the honesty portion that you bring up, Auntie Lynn, about being honest with self. And if we're not doing that, there's really no
There's no
conversation to be having.
transparency to be had.
Yeah.
There's none.
So yeah, that was
That's brilliant.
great.
We love you guys.
I love you guys.
thank
Don't you guys love them?
Thank you so much.
you.
Yeah.
We love
Thank
them.
you for having us.
Thank
Yes,
you
indeed.
so
Thank you for
much.
having us.
Thank you.
Never forget.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.
All
Thank you. God
marriage,
bless you.
all
That's
the
it.
time.
Cut.
Juju.